Great evening. No more shame in this game. I'm Sheila Calvert. Welcome to Why Should I Be Ashamed? This is where we have a conversation about everything, anything sexual abuse. Welcome and thank you for liking, sharing, and starting a watch party. I am elated and excited tonight. Always about this conversation. This is a conversation that most people only talk about in private. As a matter of fact, some of you don't think it's relevant, but while we're working today, after I took care of my client, she says, "May I have a moment?" And she spoke with me about a situation in her life, very devastating, about her children. And I'm not going to go into details because I do want her family to watch. And sometimes the situation can be so raw and sensitive, and we're really trying to work this situation out with this family. So I'm telling you, as much as I would love to talk about Meghan Markle and all the people that's in the news today, I have a topic that we seemingly keep ignoring. So last week we talked about our road to recovery, part 1. So this is part 2 tonight. How many of you would love to see your loved ones recover? How many of you would love to see generational curses broken from your family? As a matter of fact, before I came on tonight, of course I pray, and I pray that it reach you. I pray that you're never ashamed, just like that song says. I want that song to penetrate in your heart when nobody is watching. And I want you to do what happened to me one day. I was writing this book, and the name of the book was Who Could Live Through It? But as I was writing my story, I was so embarrassed by my own journey, my own road to recovery. I was so embarrassed. But then I started asking myself, why are you ashamed? Why should I be ashamed? I didn't do anything. But shame comes along with sexual abuse. They're parallel. So I want you to be set free. I want you to know that you're on your road to recovery. Just even as you're listening tonight, even as you're watching, just take one step, one day at a time. Go back on YouTube, look at some of our videos, get in private, and get to yourself. And yes, you have to do the work. There is no pain, no gain. You have to do the work. We're doing our part. We're finding content. We're coming here, sharing it with you. We're trying to activate your freedom. We're trying to show you that, yes, there's people all over the world that we talk about, different people that has made it over to the other side, to the road of recovery. And maybe there's a psychology and say it's a lifetime, because like I often say, it's a it is a lifetime commitment to working through our issues. So listen, I want to thank you, and I'm going to ask you too, will you support this journey? Support our plan. And we're going to get on here and begin to show you some of the things that we see coming that is necessary for this generation, for our families. And we're hearing this constantly. I hear it in my local community. If you would listen, you'll hear it in your local community. You'll hear it in some of the people that's around. You can catch the vibe. You see that it's everywhere. I don't want to start naming names, but you've seen the young man, his father, a superstar. He's talking about he's been abused. Some of the superstars are talking about even as they were successful, they've been abused. This thing is everywhere. So that's why we talk about it. So I want you to recover. I want you to believe that you can recover. I want you to never be ashamed because it happened to your sister, brother, mother, father, or whoever. I want you not to be ashamed. Break that mold. I want you, how the young people say, come through, come through. Get through that door. Because the truth of the matter, the shame is parallel to the abuse. But in the spiritual realm, it becomes pride. That's our cover up. Shame is so connected to pride. But we don't have to be prideful because all have fallen short. Everybody has a secret and a story. Whether their secret was from their childhood and personal stuff they done on their own self. Maybe they, I'm not even going to name the things, but don't you ever be ashamed because we all have a battle in our mind, in our hearts. We basically travel in the same road, life to death. So I just want to encourage you. I know your brother. I know your sister has done a thing. I know your uncle, your aunt, grandpa, grandma, somebody has done a thing in your family. But don't put them down. I told the young lady today, create an environment and let your person know that she can recover, she can heal. She got to get over it before she's being penitentiary doing 20 and 30 years, because if you do not take care of this issue at its root, sometimes if it's uncovered, you're going to jail, because you see what's going on in our culture. People are coming up and finally begin to have discussions, and what? So you might as well get it out on the table, talk about it, and let's do some repairing in our families, in our churches, in our schools, in our community. Let's repair. Let's bring. What is that everybody want? They say they want their cows and the mules. Hey, you guys, I'm talking to you. They want their cows and the mules from their reparation from slavery.
Oh yeah, reparations.
Reparations. Well, let's get some reparations in this time. We need more than 40 acres and a mule. That ain't gonna solve all of your issues. We gotta deal with some stuff. So listen, I'm gonna go and talk about. Hey, love, there's cousin. I know she would have loved this road to recovery. I want to talk about this road to recovery. So, let me put my glasses on. We're on number 7 now. Number 7, we talked about. I'm just trying to convince you. You know how TD Jakes say, what do he say? Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. I want you to get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. Yes, y'all should be able to know me by now. We've been doing this 30 years. How long we been in your family, Broderick? They over here laughing, talking about, am I reading their mind? Yeah, y'all should know some stuff by now. Eunice, you got to come get in the studio with us, honey, and just really cut up with these brothers. But I'm telling you, recover, recover, recover. You can recover. I want you to believe it. There's many of us that has recovered. There's many of us that know how to smile for real and be happy for real and feel just and clean, as holy as anybody else, and clean as any other woman. We get over those things. We forgive our past, and we forgive and we get over. So we're going to go to number 7, making contact with the child within. Now that was important. A lot of times, if your molestation happened as a child, and then in our journey, when we begin to grow and develop, it seems like we miss something because we keep going back to the tragedy. We keep going back to the trauma. We keep going back to the pain. You get in your 20s and you don't know why you deal in your relationships, because that child has to be healed. We have to go back and deal with the hurt of that child. And some people, I know many adults that has been traumatized, they still act like children. They still want to be a baby. Because they didn't get baby. They didn't get that care that they see maybe a girl with a father got, or a girl that has a protector. And so you'll see them, they'll actually psychologically always wanting attention, always wanting to be baby, can't deal with being mature, always want to play. Now, I like to have fun too, but we got to recover. Many survivors has lost touch with their own vulnerability. Don't take chances with your life. Don't leave your children with molesters like I did. Under no circumstances. I told myself, oh, this he won't do this to my children, and left my children and went to the club somewhere. That's so out of order. Thank God for his mercy that they said nothing happened to them. And that was foolish of me. But because I continued to be in that environment, my mother continued to be in that relationship, I didn't have the strength or the direction to remove myself until I got my mind clear. Then I found out that this is unhealthy, that being around this environment is going to breed negativity in my children's life. And it did not, because I removed myself and my children. Some of my children never even met any of the family or any of the people that participated. And it's so important because you can still be so vulnerable, and you can tell yourself, oh, the person is not going to do it then. But listen, you can't make another person recover, and you don't have the cure for sexual abuse. Because if we had the cure, we would go all over the land giving giving the antidote for the cure. So you have to work on yourself under no circumstances. So as I was speaking with this mother today, I was telling her, you cannot leave your child with that person. Because even sometime when I was in that environment, even the eye contact, just looking at me, then sometimes would walk by me and say, oh, you liked it, or walk by me and say, stewed pigeons, you told on me stewed pigeons get stitches or something. And I'm 16, 17, living in this foster home. Nobody knows that I'm continuing to be abused because his sister became my foster parent for reasons that I don't even want to get into. And then she began to let him over. I just don't, that's a whole nother dysfunction. No. So making contact with the child within. Get in touch with the child within. It can help you feel compassion for yourself. You must realize it was not your fault. You're not stupid. You're not dumb. And all the other negative titles that we give ourselves when we are abused as children. It don't have anything to do with your ability to learn, your ADHD, or none of that. That child needs to be, you need to tell that child that and remind your own self that you were only a child, that you were unprotected. It was not your fault. So you want to really deal with that so you can mature and you can recover. Another thing, making contact with the child within, channel your anger at the abuser. You can forgive them, but be angry at anyone that has sexually abused us. You know, oftentimes we want to mix up forgiveness with anger. I can forgive you. I don't have to if I experience anger, that has nothing to do with being unforgiving. Being angry is an emotion of being displeased. It doesn't always come to a fight. It doesn't always mean there have to be a shootout. But when you've been molested, you have every right to be angry. You have every right to be angry at your village sometimes. But you don't have to be unforgiving. But you do have to, that child has a right to be angry, to scream it out because you want it to get out. So let's not bottle people up inside and have people so bottled up that they can't even express their own emotions. Most of the time when you're sexually abused, you don't even know what you're feeling. You don't know what you're feeling. Everything is just a maze and a daze. And it's very chaotic. But if you get in touch and you have some anger, I want to let you know it is okay to be angry. at your village. It is okay to be angry at the person. Most of all, number one, the person that did that. And it is okay to report it to the police because it is a crime. Let me express that again. Anger. Am I still on number 7? Oh, but I heard you. Is that you trying to say move right along, move right along? And be angry at anyone that has sexually abused you. Be angry. And because you can gain strength in anger. You don't have to lash out at everyone. I'm not saying lash out, have it, because a lot of times, because we're not angry, that's what we do. We lash out at our marital partners. We lash out at our own children when we become adults. We lash out at the wrong people. We have misplaced anger. So put the anger where it goes. I have a right to be disappointed, angry at whoever did this crime to me. Focus greater intimacy towards others. Get better and help others. What did I mean by that? Focus on healing so you can help other people. Like I had to focus and recover and go through the process and go through the journey so I could not be embarrassed, so I could help others. Did I cry during this journey? Yeah. Was I in pain during this journey? Yeah. Did I understand? No, but I knew it had purpose. I knew that this book had purpose. There was reason, because there's millions of people, every culture, every denomination, every one of us have some connection to someone in our families, in our village, in our community, in our world that we care about that has been abused. And let's keep the prayers over our children. Keep the prayers over them, and let's keep the protection over them. Oftentimes, there are not fathers in some of our homes, or father is working and overworking. And some of our value systems, we value so many things that we're out buying so many things to put on our shelves, to make bigger closets, to make everybody know that we got one too, that we're equal, that we're leaving our children home with babysitters or anybody, or leaving them alone, and we're leaving our daughters, our sons unprotected. Everybody is trying to be famous and not just trying to be successful in their life, being successful in relationship. Who's really trying to be successful in relationship? Most of us can't deal. We're so disconnected, especially because of social media. We're so disconnected. We're just trying to, how many numbers did I get? How many likes did I get? It doesn't matter how many likes I got tonight. All I know is this conversation is necessary. If it's 10 years from now, it's going to help someone. But we're socially disconnected. And I'm finding out that people are very non-confrontational. I can confront you without having an argument or a battle with you. I can confront you and listening to where you're coming from, because I understand that your comprehension level is going to be different from mine. So even if we leave not understanding one another, at least we talk. But most people, they get so aggravated when they can't comprehend, and then they deflect and they feel stupid. There's people that they just have the gift of intellect. So don't let these conversations make you feel any kind of way, in a bad way, but let it open your eyes to see what is going on in your community, in your village, in your house. Number 8, I'm moving right along. Number 8, trust yourself. The best guide for healing is one's own inner voice, your own intuition. Your own intuition. You don't have to go calling anyone. If your instincts say no, you go back and see about your children. You turn around and you stop. Listen to what I'm saying. What you all call a gut feeling, I call the Holy Spirit. But listen to your inner voice and just say no. And I'm telling you, there's nothing, you cannot replace the pain of a sexual abused loved one with any material thing. So while we're chasing cars and houses and bags and leaving our children, make sure your children are in a safe place. So trust your voice. Learn to trust your own perception, your own feelings. And don't be so into so much negative. You so into the news. I listen to people, they're always talking about the news, and I be saying, yeah, they're deflecting. What about your life? You're so busy talking about Kirk Franklin and his son, which is none of our business, but we care enough to pray for them. But you're so busy, so that helps you to deflect. You're going to talk about them. You're going to involve yourself in their personal lives. You're not going to pray for them. You're not going to show concern. You're not going to pray, Lord, don't let it be an explosion like Marvin Gaye and his father. We don't want that, and we don't want that to happen. No, we like to egg things on. We want to hurt people that's already hurt and already frustrated. You know why? Because you're deflecting. Because I don't know about you, but I have 5 grown children and 7 with they're married and grandchildren and a husband and friends. That village right there is enough to pray that they are healthy. And we have sometimes we have where we can't communicate. We don't understand what one is saying. We're not listening. Now, I'm not getting ready to get up here and talk about anybody else's business. What I'm trying to say, you watch too much news. You got to get your mind just pure. You need to purify your mind. Take a day off. Watch something that make you laugh or something happy. But I'm worried about you people that all you do is watch news and watch negative things and watch all the crazy stuff that's on Facebook. You're a part of the problem. And we need to make sure that we're building ourselves up and becoming strong, and without the negativity, and stop talking about other people's household, because you are the main one. I remember this woman, she used to talk so bad about this other woman. Oh, she was this. She talked about her so bad. And come to find out, this woman was used to shoot heroin. She's been in treatments. She left her kids. She was a prostitute. The same one that was talking about the other lady. See, it's a deflection. So don't put down people that's been molested. Don't talk about everybody that's in the media, in the social media. You better look and keep your mouth off of it and just say, Lord, help them. What's going on? Y'all know that we have lost a lot of things in our value system because we value materialistic things more than our relationships. We value purses more than our children. Somebody needs to stay at home. I took about 3-4 years off. I know everybody can't afford it, but you got to make a way. What I did, do a little hair at home here and there, and just do without. Go to some free stuff. I got a free membership, a $10 a month membership to the Y, and took my children swimming and just did without some things. Yes, and then try to, wasn't overdressed at the church, didn't spend all my money on clothes, didn't have no money to spend on clothes, couldn't keep up with the Joneses. But I could never take back that time that I instilled my values in my children. I was protective of them. And then, later on they got to go out in the world. But and then we have to trust the school system. So be careful with your children. Get them strong before we send them out to. The baby's not 2 months old before they got a babysitter, and you want someone to love and nurture your child, and half the time we don't even know if they crazy or cuckoo for Cocoa Pops. I'm just saying. So I don't know when I just know that we have to be very intentional about what we're going to do with our children today. Okay, learning to trust our own perceptions. I believe you are right. You're right. The Bible says the thoughts of the righteous are right. When you're thinking a thing, you're right. You have to be intentional because you have purpose. We have a future. We have plans. As children, being abused, and later as adults struggling to survive. Trust yourself, struggling to survive. And most survivors haven't felt their losses. What do I mean by you haven't felt your losses. That's what happened. You lose your virginity, you lose your sexuality, you don't know what you're doing sexual, and you just go out in the world and you just like a blank, just a blank sheet of paper, just a blank, and just staring at the world, because now you all messed up. Nobody know why you so blank. Nobody know why you got that darkness to you. But you've lost your innocence, and nobody told you. All the times I was in the foster care system, none of them people never sat down and said, hey, you just been abused. I just had to figure it out. I just knew it wasn't right. Nobody had sat with me. You got to sit with these people and tell them that what just happened. Or even in this case I was talking to today, you may have to tell the person, what you did is incorrect, and you could you're heading down the wrong road, and get her to recover. But you lose your innocence, you lose kindness, the ability to think right, the ability to believe in people. That somehow you lose that, the ability to love. We can lose all those things in sexual abuse, and some of you just think you can cover it up and just keep it moving. No, there's a great loss, but we can be restored, we can be recovered if we just deal with it. Trust yourself. Grieving is a way to acknowledge pain and let it go and move into the present. Now, grieving is important because sometimes in these abusive families and situations, you may lose relationship. You done lost your virginity, and you lost your sexuality. You don't know if you want to go with men, girls, boys, or girls. You done got confused. You done lost the place you're living at. I lost where I didn't have a roof over my head. I lost my friends, my best friends. It seemed like I was just a little girl. When I look at this picture, it's like a little girl just wandering out in the earth realm, just don't know nothing. And I wasn't thinking to lean on the Lord. You lose so much, and so you grieve, and that's why a lot of people, what do? They turn and try to self-medicate with drugs, alcohols, painkillers, sex, and which abuse on top of abuse. And so, but you do have to go through the grieving process. You may lose, like I was in and out of my mother's life. I should have just walked away from her. When she decided that she had chose that relationship with that man, and it doesn't mean that I didn't forgive him or her, but maybe it would have been better if I walked away and got me some healing. And eventually she left the relationship, but just looking at it, being there, that was grieving. And so sometimes we have to move on. And for those of you that have the strength to stay in these families, maybe it was your father, and like, what's the preacher woman name? Joyce Meyer said her father molested her over and over, had sex with her over and over, and she forgave him, and I believe she buried him and bought him a home, and we understand that part of forgiveness if that works for you. But all of us, that doesn't work, especially when there's violent people, there's drug addiction. You can't. It just begins to be a cycle. So sometimes you have to remove yourself. I believe I should have removed myself even earlier. But I did eventually had to remove myself from these bad environments. And it's hard for some of you to separate from your bloodline. It's almost like just stay in the bloodline, even though I know that my children's children is going to be attacked in this environment. And it's hard to break away. So that's going to be part of the work that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to go through this grieving process. You're going to have to move through the grieving process. Number 9, let's see here. We're on our road to recovery. We can recover. I've seen it done. I've seen some awesome women and men become great. We can't let these things bring us to our end. This is not our end. We have taken this oh wow. I was getting to my end. Okay, number 9. Manage your anger. Listen, it's human to be angry. If someone molests your child, you're going to be angry if you love them. If someone abuse your wife, rape your children, you're going to be angry, but you got to manage your anger. because otherwise you'll become what they become. You go kill a molester, which we've seen oftentimes, they go to jail. You don't get off just somebody molests you, and you especially if you weren't there, if it didn't happen, you go later on and shoot the person, you go to prison. So you have to manage your anger. Manage your anger. Manage your anger. Manage it to the point that you got to get to the how the soldiers say, at ease, soldier. You got to get at ease. You have to, because it will cause sickness, disease. It will cause all kind of broken relation, bad behavior. We got to manage our anger. So how do you manage your anger? You have to do things like we're doing now. You got to sit and talk about it. You got to sit with others and talk about it. After we have these discussions, maybe you can put on a "Why Should I Be Ashamed" event in at a hotel, sit in in a lobby and come together, or at Panera Bread and sit and chat it up, one on one. Bring two people, chat it up. Bring a box of Kleenex, because sometimes this brings out emotion. But anger is a powerful and a liberating force. It is good. Like I said, it's okay. We have a right to be angry, and that's part of being liberated. Whether one needs to get in touch with it or has always had plenty to spare. The appropriate redirecting of anger, which is a harsh emotion, at the abuser and those who didn't protect the victim, is normal and quite pivotal in healing. So we've already talked about that. It is very important to manage that. Let's go to number 10. How's everybody doing out there? We're on our road to recovery. That is so important. That's why we do what we do. That's why we come here on Tuesdays, because we want you to know that somebody is rooting for you. We're believing with you. We're trying to get you through the process, but you have to do the work. You have to have application in all things. You can't just read a book and don't apply it. You have to apply it mentally, emotionally, and physically. Go for walks, and spiritually, of course. Number 10, disclosure and confrontation. Oh my goodness. Directly confronting the abuser and or your family is not for every survivor. We know that. However, it can be a helpful tool. Everybody can confront the person that abused them, because then you'd have to go down to the jailhouse. You might have to go to the hell house, and nobody want to go down there. You may have to go to the graveyard. You may have to go down there to the White House. Who knows where these people are? They're everywhere. So we're not all, and you don't always have the strength or the know-how, or you may not have the strength to confront. So don't do what you're not called to do. I'm not here telling you to go jump in nobody's face, go, hey, you know what happened to me? No, that's not. There's a proper way to do anything. You can call me, we can talk about it. Every situation is different. You have to evaluate that thing. You can't just go and just confront a person. Good evening. However, it can be helpful too. There ain't a ministry that I'm in that I can't stop and say, hey, to my children. I want y'all to know it. This ain't that church. Honey, I'll start preaching to talk to mine. You know that young man made it safe home tonight. Honey, I give God the glory for that. Yes, Are we still on?
Yes, we are.
Okay. See, he done got me all worked up. You want to come fix this? Try not to get in the film. Y'all give me a minute. Give me a minute. I'm getting stirred up here.
You didn't take it off the screen.
Confrontation. Now, I hope this didn't mess up, because, honey. Okay. We're talking about this. I think, that confronting thing, that gets me every time. It can be a helpful tool. Be accompanied during confrontation with your abuser or negligent family member is necessary for your support and safety. You make sure you bring somebody with you. Honey, you might need to bring the popo with you. I'm just saying. Sometimes people, most of the time, I don't even know the percentage. Do y'all know the percentage of the time that people have went and confronted this thing and then the person says, no, I didn't do it? Because, see, I confronted my person and they said, well, my mother told us don't tell the judge. And then he said, he told me I'm sorry for what I did. I was just old ghetto man, any excuse. And then later on, he told his daughter that I was not telling the truth. So, people just don't. Most of the time, I see people saying no, they didn't do it because they are ashamed too. They're embarrassed of the behavior. So that's what I'm saying. Where are these words coming from? People just up on the screen here. Or maybe that's mine. I don't know. Okay, I'm talking to the producers. Yes, I am. Because they help me, they push me. So, there is a time to confront. You have to have the right time and the right mind, the right time and the right mindset. You can't just go on up on people full of anger, full of rage. It have to be because you want resolve, because you want to bring it to the end. And just because you come on here every Tuesday night, it does not mean that you have not brought closure to your situation. I have brought closure to my situation, but I continue to help because I want to see our sisters, brothers, our systems. I want them to recover. I want to see people lives move on. I want to see people happy and in a good place. So that's where I'm at. Number 11, resolve to move on. As you move through these stages again and again and again, you will reach a point of integration. Feeling and perceptions will eventually stabilize. Feelings and perspectives will eventually stabilize. Mine have. I'm stabilized, and I always hear stories and stories. I never get shocked. I hear some stories. I mean, you wouldn't believe the stories. If the people would come in here and sit in this studio with me, I'm sure we'd probably be up to 1 million views. I'm telling you, there's people, the stories that I hear, they're tragic. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I've heard mothers go in courtrooms and says, she's trying to take my man, and the daughter then told her, your man been molesting me, having sex, and the mother said she wanted the judge, don't put my man in jail. And come to find out, the daughter just started making the man her boyfriend. It's just all kind of crazy stories that I have. But as you talk and deal with this, you'll go through the stages of recovery and you'll get through them. You'll reach a point where it doesn't affect you the same way. Feelings and perspective will eventually stabilize. Yes, they will. You will become stable. You will get into a place where what affected you 10 years ago or yesterday won't affect you today. You will come to terms with the abuser and other family members. You have to allow people to be who they are and not who they ain't. They're not going to be everything that you want them to be. They only can comprehend what their experience. And my experience may be different from yours. And people oftentimes, when they're not involved, a lot of times they have a lot to say. Like a lot of you are saying stuff about that you shouldn't be saying right now about this family in the news and all that. And so you have to let people be who they are, but you still get to your come to terms with that. Everybody is not going to believe you. Come to terms with that. Everyone in your family in your village is not going to want to talk about it. Come to terms with that. But just know that you have a right to recover. You have to move on, and you can find a support system. We're here to support you. You want to erase your history, but you will make deep and lasting life changes. When you cover, you can't change the past. You can't change what you have been through, but you can heal. I promise you, you can recover. You can move forward. Having gained awareness, compassion, and power through healing, you will have the opportunity to work towards a better world. When people see you recover, it it adds life. Even though I know some family members, they never say anything. They sit in the back in the cut and they look like, wow, she's told everybody about us. She told everybody that she's been abused. Now they know, da da da. But in the depths of their mind, they saying, but that girl is strong. That girl has moved on. That girl has recovered. That girl has remained. That girl is consistent, and you can be that same person. Don't let anyone stop. I think in our heart of hearts, I don't know, it's something about our nature, our culture. We love to see you fail when we're with you, but then it's something about when you hear about bad things that happen to a person, then we're sad. And then I think in our heart of hearts, in the good part of us, we don't want bad things to happen to one another. But for some reason, and you all know the reason, for some reason it seemed like the world around us, you can offer great things to people and they'll still put you down. They'll still do wrong against you. But it takes the love to care. So your healing, your strength. Every time I see a woman stand up, every time I see a woman be strong, every time I see a woman just get up and come to work, that gives me incentive. It motivates me. It makes me feel good. When I see women keeping themselves together, sometimes I drive far away from my community and go and just watch other women. I go to Atlanta, the women just sharp and they keep themselves together. I call on my friend, Javon, just looks so fabulous. That makes me feel great. Go visit other women's salon and seeing their success, seeing their successfulness. I went to Shay, just seeing what she's doing over there. Another lady opened a salon. That makes me feel celebrated. And you got to learn how to celebrate other people. That's part of making a better world. As I'm closing, remember to get your copy of Why Should I Be Ashamed? Look, as a matter of fact, you can be healed, be at peace. Acknowledging every painful experience can become a reason to live. A lot of times people are suicidal, but if you acknowledge it and deal with it, that'll give you life. And then oftentimes we say that my abuse has become my ministry and we don't like it, but we have to make something out of all this bad behavior, the things we don't understand. Make something out of it. Live. It takes works and a village. Be a part of the village that heals. On this road, you will see beauty on that path. You are strong. You are on your way to a destination that will help others. Thank you for watching tonight. Remember, I love you. I appreciate you all coming in here every Tuesday. Check out Pastor Calvert on Sunday mornings. He be bringing the word 9 o'clock. You can always go back, watch us on YouTube, and continue to support your village. And thank you so much for watching. And thank you guys for being here tonight. Be ashamed. It's a shame. Woo! The way they hurt me. It's a shame. The way they hurt you. But I had to get through and tell my story and get my victory and give God the glory. Give God the glory. Hey, yeah. That's what I do. Give God the glory.